All right, welcome back. We continue live right here, Pittsburgh CW. It's the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. Pittsburgh CW at 412-575-2600. That's the number of the Bordas and Bordas hotline. The Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call is brought to you by Ireland Contracting, Pittsburgh's #1 home exterior expert in roofing, siding, windows, and gutters. And the Pirate season is heading into the gutters right now based on how they're performing. I want to talk about the Penguins because, Paul Zeise, I haven't had a chance to talk to you. I'm sure on your radio show you've crossed these topics. Jack Johnson brought in 5 years. A lot of controversy about his acquisition. And then 42-year-old Matt Cullen. They got a lot older with these two transactions. I don't mind Jack Johnson for right now. 5 years is a little too much. Your take overall?
Yeah, I mean, I think 5 years is a lot. But you know what? If you're the Penguins, you're not worried about years 4 and 5.
No,
you're really worried about, are we going to win the Stanley Cup over the next 2 years? And if that's the case, you know, okay, you'll deal with it.
It's similar to Brooks Orpik when he signed with Washington.
Right.
They gave him 5 years, $25 million, and they wanted him there to try to add to a defensive core with the thought of winning.
Right.
Now, the Penguins knocked him out the first 2 years of his thing. Year 3 here, or year 4, whatever it is, now they finally won with him.
Yeah.
So,
and so
it pays
think
off.
It can pay off. I mean, the Matt Cullen thing is so little money. I guess it doesn't. But to me, every other team in the league seems to be trying to get younger and faster. And to me, you're adding a 31-year-old who's coming off an awful season and a 43-year-old. And again, you know, like I said the other night on the showdown, ever since Johnny Majors II, I've never been a fan of this Back to the Future thing. To me, you have expectations of a guy. I don't buy they need leadership in their locker room and stuff. They've got, you know, Crosby, Malkin, some of these guys have been there for how many years now? I mean, it's like some people still think Crosby's like an 18-year-old kid. He's 30 now, isn't he?
The leadership goes through him, there's no doubt.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so they don't need leadership in that locker room. They need players that can play, and I just don't know if Cullen has much left.
We will find out. It also could lead to another trade potentially with Derek Brassard because he is a center by trade, Matt Cullen. He's willing to play wing. He can play wing, but they have 5 centers now really on the roster. You wonder about that moving forward. Let's go to the lines. We'll begin with Clint in Altoona. Hey, Clint, welcome to the program. How are you?
Good. How you guys doing?
Okay, what's up?
Thanks for taking my call. Yeah, I want to ask a couple of questions. First off, the league in general. The Pirates, you know, they'll say they're sticking around. You know, they're not going to make the playoffs or anything, but it seems like the National League, a bunch of teams, you know, maybe underachieving and maybe outside of the Cubs. You look at the American League, they got the Yankees, Red Sox, the Astros, Cleveland. I mean, they're way better over there. Do you see anybody, I mean, is there anybody that scares you in the National League that can actually beat one of those teams? That's my first question. The second one is, if you stayed up late Saturday night, I know I was watching that Pirate game in San Diego, and they had Polanco at third with nobody out, and they couldn't get him in. Was it me, or maybe it was, I don't know, bad luck, but do you think he should have scored on that foul fly ball?
Yes, and I wouldn't have minded, Clint, if he got thrown out at home plate, to be honest with you. The way they're going, they need to take advantage of everything. And you knew that Renfroe, thank you for calling, by the way.
Okay.
Renfroe was going to have to make a tough catch. Number one, principally, you got to be on third base. That's as simple as it gets. If you're Joey, I blame more Joey Cora, Paul, than I do Polanco, even though Polanco can't run bases. But Cora has to tell him, get to the base and tag, or at least just get to the base and see what happens. You can't be halfway down the line. It's a foul ball. Right. It won't matter.
Right. I mean, but again, it's Polanco. And now this is Joey Cora.
But it's also Cora.
But I agree. But Joey Cora is now, what, the third base coach they've had in probably 5 years? And yet Marte and Polanco and Harrison, they all seem to do the same stupid things on the base paths. At some point, you got to stop firing coaches and maybe wonder, you know.
You know, it's funny. We talk about the Pirates and their inability to run bases and fundamentals. So last night I'm watching the Boston Red Sox and the Washington Nationals, and during that game, Perez, their announcer, says, you know, I've talked to a lot of people who believe the Washington Nationals are the worst team in baseball in running the bases. And to myself, I'm thinking, wow, that's saying something, because the Pirates, from what we've seen, and we don't watch every other team, but I'm sure it's a league-wide issue, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, but again, some guys just aren't very good at running the bases, aren't very intelligent or whatever. Others, I think, you know, get it. I mean, look, we used to make fun of Pedro Alvarez because he couldn't throw the ball and because he couldn't do certain things. He was probably the best base runner the Pirates have had in the last 5 or 6 years.
Unfortunately, he didn't get on base all
Exactly, he didn't, but he at least knew how to run bases. That was a pretty good play at the plate there, by the way.
I didn't see it. I just heard you. I saw your eyes rolling.
Yeah, I looked over there like Kershaw. It was a contact play.
Oh, it was a scoop by challenging it? I don't know. Let's go to the lines. Let's go to JB in Squirrel Hill. What's up, JB? How you doing?
Hey, how are you guys?
What's up?
All right, so I have a few things. From Zeise, I'm curious to see how many seasons you think it's going to take Capel to get Pitt back to the tournament. On the Pirates, anybody who's not clutch, I mean, to me is expendable. So who does that leave? Harrison? Who's clutch on our team? Harrison?
Nobody right now.
Right.
Who's
Everybody,
clutch?
They're all expendable to me except for, like, Harrison.
Yeah, but what is your end
Meadows.
goal, though, JB?
Meadows.
What is your end goal here? I mean, you do have some young guys who you'd like to build around. They're not going to be clutch right now, but will they be in the future?
He's clutch.
How do we know that?
Absolutely.
How do we know that?
Like it to me.
He is batting .211 in his last 9 games. So, I mean, we only see a small sample size with Meadows.
All right. What about clutch?
Not right now. That's what I mean. There's too much inconsistency with it. So, I don't know. Thanks for the call. That's the problem. You have a team with not only not a megastar you can rely on, but nobody's really stepping up. They're inconsistent. They're erratic. Same is true of their pitching staff. Chad Kuhl's now on the disabled list. Joe Musgrove follows him. Who's going to pitch tomorrow? Who do they have? Kingham comes up and gets whacked. It's inconsistency all throughout the board. Paul, to me, this underscores their lack of development. They can't develop people even though they get high draft picks.
Yeah, I think they also maybe draft the wrong guys. I mean, that's
well, no. According to when they draft, they're picking guys that everyone said they should pick. How do we all know that?
But I understand that. But I'm just saying, like, I look at some of these guys, and I don't know that they're as good as maybe they were supposed to be. Now, to your point, they're picking the guys they're supposed to pick, but they've got to just do a better job of identifying players and also developing them, like you said. And that's really what it comes down to. They've got way too many young players. Way too many young players.
All right, let's talk about a previous caller. I think it was Clint who wanted to know also about the disparity of talent between American League teams and National League teams. I agree with that. I think it's almost like the NBA West versus the East. And by the way, since we're on that topic real quick, I think they should go to a different kind of seeding for. I'm tired of watching Western Conference teams eliminating one another when the East stinks. How about just 1 through 16, open it up that way?
Well, but then don't have conferences.
Whatever. I'd rather see that.
But it's a
because the best
thing,
teams will eventually be first, second, and they'll meet later.
2 or 3 years from now, it could be the East that's loaded. I just think those things are cyclical. To me, I can't understand how the commissioner of the NBA can stop Chris Paul from going to the Lakers a few years ago, but he's going to allow Boogie Cousins, who was offered $20 million a year for his current team, to take a $5 million deal to go to
But also
Golden
the
State.
formation of all these super teams. I hate it. I mean, maybe the NBA's done that for the most part of their existence because there have been teams and markets are big. They want L.A. and they want Chicago and they want New York all to have. But look what's left. Chicago stinks. Right. They have 2 teams in New York that stink. L.A. stinks. So they need, and the Clippers are going backwards.
Right.
So, but still, I would not allow players to dictate who does what to minimize everything else the front office does. We got to take a break. Come back with more right after this on Pittsburgh CW.